Hey guys, it's me, Chance again. Today we're going to make a tutorial for SoftBody physics in Godot, and let's get right into it. Now the scene right here is pretty simple. It's just Node 2D and a tile map. The tile map is just a square and it has collisions and stuff. That's that. I have nothing else down here except a ball sprite, as you can see in the upper corner. That's going to be the bouncing ball we're going to make. So let's go into a new scene, make a 2D scene. We're going to name it ball. And yep, it's a ball, I guess. Now we're going to do a sprite node. But you might be like, oh, you need a polygon node. Nope. I'll show you this real quick. Just drag your texture into it. Zoom in. Now we want this to be a little bit bigger, so let's do increase 3 times in scale. It depends on how big you want your ball to be, but this is about how big I want it. And click up here where it says sprite, click it and then convert to polygon 2D. And it depends on how precise you want it to be, but we're going to have it be as precise as possible, so I'm going to set these to the lowest amounts they can. And then update preview, that means it's going to make the polygon as close to the pixels. Create polygon 2D. Now if we go up here and click UV, it's going to show us all the points in it. And this is where we're going to do like deforming stuff and hook up bones and polygons and points. But we don't need to do that at the moment. Now we're going to go into the ball node and add another child. We're going to add a rigid body. That's not how you spell rigid body. Yep, we're going to add one of those, and we're going to name it, for simplicity, 0. I'll show you that in like 5 seconds. And we're just going to add a collision shape node to it as well, and to give that collision shape a circle. And there we go for that. Make it a little bit bigger, depends on how your shape is. You don't want to cover the entire thing, obviously, but yeah. So this is basically going to be the center of our rigid body, and we're going to have other rigid bodies all around the edge, and they're going to be connected with spring joints, so it stays the relatively same shape but can stretch and stuff. So we're just going to click this button right here. It's just going to make sure we can't move this without moving the rigid body. And also we're going to click this snapping tool right here, Smart Snap, to help snap stuff into place easier. Now it's going to be pretty simple. We just copy this, and the reason we named it 0 is because it's just going to turn to 1. Drag it up to the very top. Now you want it to go where the circle barely eclipses the ball. We don't want to have it go too far or the collisions are going to look weird. And we're just going to do this all around the circle. Now if you're using a different shape for this, like a square, you're going to do it obviously more in a square shape. But this is just for a circle. So there we go. Now this is where the fun part comes in. We have to go through each one of these and connect them with spring joints, which it's not hard at all, it's just a little tedious, but we can get into that right now. So we're going to just go to the top one right here, add a child, and we're going to look up damp, spring joint 2D right here, and we're just going to line this up with the middle. So go to the length over here and decrease it until it's right around where you want it. And then see where it says Node A, Node B. In Node A, you're going to select the current rigid body you're connecting from. And Node B is going to connect to the rigid body you're connecting to. So for Node A, I would pick 1. And for Node 2, I would pick 0. And you want 3 of these for each rigid body, so just Control D, duplicate it, then press E to rotate it around. And we're going to rotate it to the other one, turn off Smart Snapping for this. And just decrease the length so it's lined up. And then turn Node 1 to keep that one the same actually. And turn Node 2 to Node 8. And now you want to do this for the entire thing. So Control D again, rotate it. Now it doesn't need to be perfectly lined up, so if it's off a little bit, it's fine. And now just click 2 for this. And you're going to do this exact same thing for this one, and this for every single one. So it's going to take you a little bit, but it's not hard, it's just a little tedious. So now go to node 2, add child, spring, rotate it to the middle again, decrease the length so it lines up, then assign the nodes to it, and just keep on doing that. So now we're going to do it again with node 1. Now you might be like, hey, you're just going to duplicate the same connection. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure if you actually have to duplicate it like that, but I've done it like that, and that's how I see everyone else do it, so I'm going to do it for this. Now connect to node 1, duplicate once again, and just keep doing it like this. I'm going to fast forward it now because I'm pretty sure you get the gist of it. Just connect into a ring, have them all connect to the middle, and yeah, I'll be back in like 2 seconds. Okay, now we have them all set up now, just in a nice circle, and all connected to the middle. If you go to debug up here and click visible collision shapes, and then we save the scene, we're just going to save it as ball, and just save that. Now if we go into our scene and drag it into the main scene, boop. If we click run, and obviously we have to click the scene to run, it's going to drop. It won't, the circle won't go with it, but it's going to drop. Now it might not look like it's staying connected, but it is. But to make it look more ball shaped, we're going to have to tweak a couple things. So now go into your ball scene and click on all of the spring joints, which depending on what type of shape you're making, it might take a lot, but there's a couple other ways you're going to optimize it, like doing it in script or whatever, but we're not doing that today. So let me explain a couple of these variables here. Length is obviously the length of the spring. Rest length is like where it starts, which if it's 0, it's just going to start at length. Stiffness is how much it can pull apart between like how stiff it is, I guess, how stretchy it can be. Damping is how fast it comes back together. So we want to increase the stiffness. Let's increase it to like 35. That should be good. And if we run the scene again, it should retain its shape more. See, it doesn't do it as much. Let's actually do it for extreme example. Let's change it to the maximum 64. And then do it again. Now it should keep its shape a lot more. See, it keeps its shape a lot. So let's just keep it at 64 for now. Now we want to, let's just decrease all these so we can see the inspector better. Now we want to add a skeleton node, skeleton 2D node to the ball. And then add a bone 2D to it as well. Boop. So this bone is going to be bone 0. We're going to have it line up with the rigid bodies. So it's going to be bone 0. Now we just want to duplicate it. Drag it. Let's turn smart snapping back on. Boop. And then we want to rotate it to where it looks at the middle. And we just want to do this with all of them. So same with 2, 3. And it's not hard, it just takes a second to do. So don't worry about messing up. By the way, if you guys have any questions at all for any of this, just comment down and ask me. I'll reply to you. eventually. I'm going on vacation very soon, so won't be able to reply for a couple weeks, but hey. So we're just going to do it for all these, have them all look at it, and save it. Now you might see, hey, there's errors here. Well, that's pretty simple to fix. Click on the skeleton 2D, click up here where it says skeleton 2D, and say make rest pose from bones. And that takes away the errors. That kind of just sets them in place, I guess. Now we want to go to the sprite we made, or polygon 2D, I guess. Click skeleton, and we want to assign the skeleton to the skeleton we made, so it assigns all the bones. Now click on UV up here, click on bones. Actually, before we do that, let's click back on points, click on this create internal vertex, and you just want to like slap it in the middle, or where your main bone is. It doesn't need to be perfectly precise. Now we have to paint the weights for the bone. Now unlike Unity, Godot doesn't have an automatic weight generator for it. So depending on how well you paint the weights, it's going to change how the shape bends. So better you paint them, better it bends. But today we're just going to do like a rough outline. I'm going to bring the paint weight all the way to max. Oh, before I do anything else, you need to sync bones to polygon. Click this button and it just syncs them. Now we just draw them out. The white means it's painted basically. So that's for bone 0, which is in the middle. Now this is for bone 1, and we just want to paint the ones nearby. So like right here. And the same for bone 2. Then for bone 3. Again, not hard at all. It's just a little bit tedious, I guess you could say. Then for bone 4. I think I lost count already, but pretty sure it's bone 7 right here. Then to bone 8. Just double check, look over it real quick, make sure all your bones are painted correctly. Might want to paint some more than others. Like these ones you might want to paint more, because if two bones have weights on the same point, it's going to like half it for both of them basically. If that's the best way to describe it. Sorry, I'm not the best at this. So just like make sure it looks good and everything, which I'm pretty sure it is. So now we just press OK. Now if we drag the bones, it should drag with it. So see, the mesh deforms with it. I mean, it's really weird at the moment. But let's set that back to normal. Now go to the ball node up here and click attach a script. And now you can store the script wherever you want, but I'm just going to store it in the script folder. And now we want to, let me explain to you what I'm doing right here. So naturally the bones don't stay with the rigid bodies, so they won't deform with it or move at all. So we have to go into script and set it up so that they will. Unlike Unity, where you can just have bones be child of rigid bodies, it doesn't work like that, so it's a little annoying, but oh well. So we're just going to make a physics process function right here. Boop. And it's pretty simple. Depending on how many bones or rigid bodies you have, it might depend on how many things you have to loop through, but just put a for loop, I, in. So we have 8 of them. So we're going to put 9 because it counts between 0 and 8. And then just indent it like that. Now we want to just loop through them all. So basically get node, and now we want to get the skeletons, the bone node, because we want the bone's global position to be equal of the rigid body's global position, if you know what I mean. So now normally you would have to make every line of code and type it out, but if we do a for loop and we're a little nifty with it, we can just use a couple lines. So then just add a plus, then we put I as string dot global position. And if we did that correctly, it should start it. So now we just need to get node again. Now we just need it to be the I. So I as string dot global position. Okay, now if we run the game, it should work, and it does, which is nice. But you might see a problem as right here. The edges are deforming in a weird way. Let me show you it again. Actually, yeah, give me like half a second, guys. Top 10 YouTube creator here. Here to teach you how to make a soft body. So as you can see, it stretches weirdly, which we don't want that personally. And it's a pretty simple fix. So all we want is for these to constantly be looking at the middle. So that's pretty simple. So we just do this. But we do need to put an if statement, so if I is not equal to 0, do this. Because we can't have the middle one be looking at the middle because it's already in the middle, you see. So now we just need get node skeleton as string right here dot look at, and now we need to get the get node 0 dot global position. So now if we do this again, it should look nice. Now the reason it doesn't look the best at the moment is mainly because of the way we painted the nodes. Unlike having the program generate the nodes for us, the weights for it, we had to paint them manually, so it's not perfectly evened out. So if you make a program that will generate them for you, it would make it a lot more realistic. You could always just mess with it yourself, but I'm not going to go into that too much detail in this one. Now there's another thing we can do. So if we have it run, as you can see, when it's sliding on the ground, it doesn't like rotate at all, and that's because we have the rigid bodies set into rigid mode. That means that they can rotate without sticking, I guess. So if we change it to character, it should rotate more. Probably not the best example right there, but let me just draw out a couple more things, guys. There we go. Make a stair so it like rotates. Now you might be like, hey, Chance, it's sticking. Well, let's see what the problem is right here. So if we run this again, oh, it's that. All the rigid bodies are getting caught on the corner. So we can change a couple things in here to make it a little easier. For instance, we can change the damping or the stiffness, but I don't think I'm going to do that in this video. It works pretty good most of the time, actually. So it's a squishy ball. Now if we obviously change the stiffness of it, sorry, it takes like 6 years to click these. You could probably have something loop through your children and change all the values that way, but I'm not making that in this one. So we can change the stiffness to like 40. And let's decrease the damping too. So all these are 14.5, and it's probably going to be a little squishier. Yep, it's a little squishier than the other one. But the main problem with the deform feature is the way we painted the weights, as I said before. That's the main problem with it. But you could always try to make a program that paints them for you. Hey, if you guys find a plugin that paints the weights for you, tell me please, and I'll make an update tutorial, I guess. But let's turn this off with the collision shapes and show it again. So I mean, it's a soft body. It's not the best soft body, but it is a soft body. I never agreed I would give you guys quality content. Let's, for the fun of it, add a bunch of these in here. It's probably gonna mess up things. Yeah, they all look weird, but yeah, that's the thing you get when Godot doesn't have a built-in soft body feature. Well, they do, but they don't. Oh well, I'm gonna stop jibber-jabbing, and I'll see you guys again. Have a good day, and bye. Now, where's that off button? Oh, there you are.